Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. I'm here today with Dr. LuLu. She's an LGBTQ activist, and we're going to be talking about what she does. But first of all, we'll be talking about Caribbean food. And Dr. LuLu, please say hello to the people.
Hi everyone, Wagwan.
Yeah, I hear some Jamaican talk about there. Wow, go on, indeed. Yeah. So, as I understand, you live in United States, yes?
I live in Texas, yes.
Right. Okay. But you're actually from Nigeria.
Yes, I'm Nigerian. I was born, bred, buttered, and slightly burned in Nigeria. So yes, I'm Nigerian.
Right. Okay. All right. So, first of all, I'm going to start the show by asking you: do you prefer international food or Nigerian food?
Mm, I think it's actually a misnomer. African food is so diverse that it is international food because Nigerian food is not Ghanaian food. Ghanaian food is not Liberian food. Liberian food is definitely not South African food. So, for those who don't know, the people who West Africans don't eat the same food that North Africans eat. We don't eat the same food that Southern Africans eat. It's just people that don't know any better, or East African. I live in Texas, but I want to go to an Ethiopian restaurant because I don't know anything on the menu. I don't know anything on the menu in a I don't know, restaurants from the Gambia, for instance. We might have rice in common, but the way they prepare their rice is different. I think one of the things I love the most is when people erroneously say, "Oh, are you African?" No, I'm not African. I'm Nigerian because that's a whole country. Forget that those who created the globe and the map gave Africa a very small proportion where we know geographically we are bigger than all of Europe put together with all of North America put together. So that's a misconception and obviously a mistake that we are trying to correct now because we know better, so we're doing better. So Nigerian food on its own is totally different in the northern part of Nigeria than in the eastern part of Nigeria, different from the western part of Nigeria. I don't know any other country, I only know mine, but I know we all have different foods, and the colonial person who thought they knew better put the four different factions together, but we don't speak the same language. We don't have anything in common with each other. We're just black. That's it.
Okay. So, what is your favorite Nigerian dish?
I think my favorite Nigerian food would be beans and plantain. We fry the plantains, but you can also boil it.
You don't like boiled, no?
No, you can roast it, yes, but when it's fried, it hits the spot. So fried plantains with beans are my favorite. Then rice and beans are my next favorite. Then rice, beans, and plantain are my next favorite. Then just rice and plantain. So plantain is the money maker for me. So yeah, I love me some fried plantains, and we call it dodo in Nigeria.
The
Dodo.
plantain, you call it dodo.
Fried plantains is called
It's
dodo.
called dodo.
And that's a Yoruba word. It's not an Igbo word. I'm Igbo, but the people whose language is Yoruba are from the West, and they call it dodo. So we've all kind of adopted that as dodo, but really it's a Yoruba word. So, yeah.
So when you say beans, what type of beans? Any beans or
Black eye,
particular?
black eye beans. So they call it black eye peas here, but really it's the black eyed beans. So they're white on the outside, and then it's got a little eye that's black. There's red beans too. There's the dark red beans, and then there's the brown beans. I just prefer black eyed peas. So in America they call it black eyed peas. I call it black eyed peas now, but really we call it. That's the when you say beans in Nigeria, that's kind of understood that it's the black eyed peas, which is what they call it in America. But then you can now, when you say beans, that's understood. But then you can now say red beans or black beans, and you use those colors to differentiate them. But when you just say beans, most people in Nigeria understand it as a black eye bean.
Oh,
So that one. But you can also make brown beans. We also have red beans. I don't really know that. My ex-wife is Liberian and half Jamaican. So she made black beans and she made red beans and all those other colored beans. And again, even though her father is Liberian, that's Liberian food that I don't recognize because, again, even though we're both in West Africa,
Oops, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened there.
I didn't
Yeah.
do anything. I didn't touch it.
Yeah. Sorry, carry on.
No, but that's it. I'm just
What?
just driving the point home that Liberians are West Africans, Ghanaians are West Africans, Cameroonians are West Africans, but we don't all have the same food. We might have rice as an entity in common, beans as an entity in common, but the way we prepare it is different depending on the country.
Okay. So, what is your favorite international dish?
I truly don't have any. I truly, truly do not have any international dish. I've visited, I think, 10 countries outside Nigeria, and no one cooks it with the spice and the love that Nigerians do. Now, that said, because I've had friends from the Caribbean, I like roti. I've had friends from Puerto Rico. I like the way they make their rice is similar to ours, but I think apparently they stole the recipe. So I'm coming just my favorite internet, I don't have one. All of them are all the same because my favorite dish of all time is still a Nigerian dish. So
Right.
I can only be faithful to one person, and that's Nigerian food.
Right.
So
But I presume you've tried a variety of international dishes, though.
I
Okay.
have. I've lived in Munich. I've lived in the UK. I visited France. I had some baguette while I was there, which is awesome. I've been to Canada. I've been to Congo Brazzaville. I've been to Ghana. I've been to Cameroon. I've been to Benin Republic. I've been to Kenya. I haven't been to South Africa. I want to go to Zimbabwe. And I've eaten in those places. And obviously I was married to a Liberian for 10 years, so I had a lot of Liberian food. I wouldn't say any of their food was favorites, but I'll say all of them were nice. Because I cook and because I know it's an art form and it takes a lot to create each meal, I've never eaten any food that I did not like. I just would rather not eat boiled plantains. And that's Nigerian. So, but I'm
But
very,
it's healthier than fried plantains, though.
you know what? To each his own. Everybody has a vice. For me,
Uh,
and I'm going to go to heaven very happy that I love fried plantains. It just is what it is. Because I love it doesn't mean I eat it all the time. It's just my favorite food, as you know. I'm still a physician. I'm still a doctor. I'm still a mother of three impressionable children. So just because it's my favorite food doesn't mean I eat it all the time. So talking about health, I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I eat fried plantains. So yeah, let it be said that I do that. Yeah, I have no fear in saying that I love fried plantains. It is what it is. It is what it
okay.
is.
So, all your experience in Nigeria and Africa, have you ever come across any Caribbean restaurants or shops over there?
I don't know that I did. I honestly don't.
All right.
I wanted to go to medical school in Mona, Kingston, Jamaica. If I did, if I had gone to medical school there, then maybe I would have said I have. But every single experience I've had with Jamaican or Caribbean food has been when I went to the Bahamas a few times now. In Texas, here we have a couple of Jamaican restaurants. When I lived
Okay.
in Washington, D.C., there was a bunch of Caribbean restaurants. So I like curry. I cook with curry. I love curry goat. I love curry chicken. We make those also at home in Nigeria. I
All
make
right.
it for the kids here. My ex-wife was an awesome cook, just awesome, awesome. I wouldn't say what
Because see it in your face, yeah.
lot of curry. She made, liver. It was good. She definitely knows how to cook. She's half Caribbean, so yes, definitely. Yeah, but I wouldn't say I in Nigeria or in Africa I did not. Because when I go to an African country, I'm not looking for a Caribbean restaurant. I'm looking for I'm looking for
Yeah.
their own food. And it just happened, like I said, I was married to a Jamaican. So, we went to a couple of Jamaican restaurants, but none of them cooked anything close to what she cooked. And when I lived in Washington, D.C. specifically, I went to a handful of Jamaican restaurants. When I lived in New York, I had a lady that I was renting a room from her. And yes, she made, Caribbean food and I ate it. But I still don't think in Africa, no. But I'm sure they have some. I just don't know
Right.
that.
I think if you had seen any, it would have registered, so yeah. Okay.
I don't think that. Mm-mm. I also left Nigeria when I was 24, just as a young adult, just about to get into life and be on my own. I literally left my father's house to America. So I've never really lived alone to have time to experiment and stuff like that. So everything I learned as far as eating other people's foods, I learned when I came here. Now I did visit a bunch of African countries, but it was usually for a competition, for speaking, for as a student. I took French, so I did a lot of international travel from school as a high schooler, and then as a medical student, we did a couple of travels. But again, when I go to the country, then I want to eat their food while I'm there. So I don't think I got any Caribbean. Mm-mm.
So what about in Texas? Have you tried any of the Caribbean restaurants over there?
One, just the one. We have a couple, but I've only gone to one. And I've gone to that one multiple times because it's the first one we heard about. So we went there. She thought the sweet bread, I think if I remember, it's called sweet bread. She thought the sweet bread was very nice. So she was my guide because she's half Jamaican. So we kind of went wherever she wanted to go. As a matter of fact, since the divorce, since the separation with my ex-wife, I haven't been to a Jamaican restaurant again, but I'll probably go again just for old time's sake.
But
But I haven't been to another one since then.
can you remember the name by chance or the area?
Nope. Mm-mm.
Right.
I know the area, but I don't know. I think it's by.
What town in Texas is it?
I live in San Antonio, so of course I went to the town in I went to
San Antonio.
yeah. I live in San Antonio, so I went to the restaurant in San Antonio. But I don't know the part of town. I know how to go there, but I don't know.
Right. Well, now we'll do a little Google search for Jamaican restaurants in San Antonio. You never know, we might come up with. How many do you reckon there are in San Antonio?
I've only been to the one, but I know that there are two that I've heard about. I'm sure there are more. It's just not a thing that I do. Like, oh, let me go to another. Again, I'm not Caribbean. So
Yeah, exactly.
Nigerian restaurants, I'll tell you where all the Nigerian restaurants are. Not because I go there often, but because I know about them because I'm Nigerian.
Right.
So.
Okay. But so, have you tried any of the Nigerian restaurants in Texas?
Yes, I've been to 3 of them in San Antonio. Texas is about the size of Nigeria. So Texas is pretty big. So we have a lot of restaurants. I only know the ones in San Antonio because I've not been to other Caribbean restaurants in other cities. But we have a city like Dallas, Texas, which is ginormous, and Houston, which is even more ginormous. I bet you they have restaurants there that are Caribbean. I just don't know them.
Okay. No, I'm only interested in the Nigerian restaurants you've been to in San Antonio.
Yes.
Would you know the names of those or what meals you do?
One of them is called Trices. I think it's a Nigerian Ghanaian fusion. I think maybe the husband is Nigerian, the wife is Ghanaian, something like that. But it's called Trices, and then one is called Lagos Buka, and then the other one is on, I can't remember the name. On Christmas, I forgot the name. But yeah, I know of 3 of them, and I've been to 3 of them. Yes.
Okay. I just find it fascinating that Texas. I don't know why. Like when I was smaller, I thought that Texas was an extremely white part of America. I didn't know that they had such a multicultural that diverse section of people there. So to hear that there are
Right. I think you're right. I think Texas is still predominantly white. African Americans or blacks only make up 12 or 13% at the most of the population of America. So at 300 million people, only 12% of them are black.
right,
That's all the black people put together.
right. So in Texas, that would be even lower then.
Yeah, I mean, possibly.
Probably be about 6%.
I don't know. I do not know the
Right.
number. I know that the population of Texas is about 30 million, I think, but I don't know what percentage of that is black. I do not know.
But I
But we,
just find it fascinating that there are, Nigerian and Jamaican, probably some other Caribbean restaurants.
yeah, but I think the thing about it is Puerto Rico is Caribbean. And so Puerto Ricans speak Spanish. So Texas used to be called Tejas. It used to be, I think, a territory that belonged to Mexico. I don't know enough about the history. So there are enough brown skinned people in Texas to create a significant diversity. So it was, the land was obviously stolen by the white people when they came, but it doesn't belong to them. So I want people to know that America does not belong to white people. It
Yeah, I
belongs
think
to Native Americans, yes. So if you put all of those people together, those who are remaining, we should have a good mix of non-whites because it predominantly, or originally was not a white country. Now that said, we know that the white man is not a very kind person. So what they did was come and kill people and take their land and make it their own. But you can't kill all of us. So there's still enough of us here who want to celebrate our culture. I mean, my cousin has, I don't know, I think he's on his fifth Nigerian restaurant now. It's called Aso Rock. He started in Dallas and now he's in Houston. So we have a presence and we are making ourselves known. And my own first cousin owns at least 3 to 5 Nigerian restaurants.
Have you been?
Yes, because it's my cousin, but he's not in San Antonio. You asked me.
Right. Okay. When you go, what dish would you get from there?
Plantain, because again, it's my favorite meal. I love plantain, so I'll get something with plantains. Usually it's rice or beans.
Right.
So I love plantains. So when my kids don't like plantains, and I tell them, I say, you're not real Nigerians. I tell my own children, I say, you all are sellouts. You're not real, because they don't like plantains. So I cook it because I'm their mother, and then you get to eat it. They will still eat it, but they would rather not. But for me, I love plantains. So if I go to my cousin's restaurant right now, I'll order plantains, something with plantains in it. Now I do order food from him a lot. I don't usually order anything with plantains to come here because I can make my own plantains.
Right.
But if I was buying food, purchasing from his website, I would order everything else. But if I went to the restaurant to eat, I would order something with plantains in it.
All right. So I noticed you say plantains, rice, beans. What meat would you get with it?
Goat meat, there's chicken.
Right.
I like goat meat specifically, so I'll get goat meat.
Okay.
We can
And
get,
what about in a roti? What meat do you like in a roti?
I think goat. I like goat meat. I think that's my favorite meat. So I'll probably go with goat. I like goat roti. I know there's chicken, but I like goats as an entity. So I would go for goat meat for sure.
So think of me as a tourist. I'm coming down to Texas and I'm looking for something to do fun. Either fun, adventurous, fun that's going to make me laugh or, fun, exciting. What would you recommend?
First of all, I'll tell you not to come to Texas. It's a racist town. I mean, if you must,
Right.
yes. So first of all, my first option will be not to come to Texas. Sorry, this is my.
But that's why I was surprised with like all the restaurants. Okay, right.
Sorry, that's my son. Sorry, I just had to to tell him I'll call him back because I want him. That's my baby son. I want to make sure that he knows that I'm not ignoring his call ever. But But yeah, first of all, I would not recommend you to come to Texas. If you're coming to America as a tourist, I would say go to Washington, D.C., go to New York. You'll get a lot more mix of people. But if you must come to Texas, then go to Houston, go to Dallas, and then come to San Antonio. Again, where you meet more people who are, of outside blood. And then when you come, then, the sky is the limit. It's an oil country. Texas is an oil state. So they have money, they have a lot of things. When my kids were younger, we did a lot more stuff. Now, as an older person, I do more museums because I'm older. I'm a writer, I'm a speaker, so I do more museums. But when I was younger, I would take the kids to, I don't know, the place where they can get on the rides, and so it depends on what you want.
Right.
To meet people, they have jazz places where you can just listen to jazz music, and actually, if you want to do a karaoke, you can do that. So it just depends on what you like. So when you are coming to visit, I'm not going to tell you where to go. I'm going to ask you what you like, so that we can get you to enjoy what you already like, as opposed to try this, because you might try it and you might not like it. So why don't we go from what you like and then kind of build on it? So yeah, if you want to eat food, I can tell you, what kind of food do you like? And then we go find that, and so forth. But yeah, Texas will be good because they have a lot of places in Texas where there are Africans doing very, very well. But if you are coming to America, I would say go to New York, go to California,
Yeah.
where you
If I was to go to Texas, I watch a show which I believe is, I don't know what part of Texas, but I know it's in Texas. It's called Kill Tony. It's like a stand-up comedian show, and people from the audience just come up and they do 1 minute, and they get really heckled, and there's some judges, and it's quite hilarious. I'd love to go to that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't watch too much TV, but I've never even heard about it. Is in Texas?
Right.
She's out of Texas?
Yeah. I sometimes there's that guy Joe Rogan. He's one of the judges as well. But, yeah, it's quite a big and interesting show.
I bet. I've never heard about it before.
So you've been to the Bahamas?
I've been to the Bahamas a few times, yes. We usually go on a Disney cruise. With each child's graduation, they get a Disney cruise as their vacation. So
A Disney cruise.
And so I've done 2 Disney cruises. I've got one child left in college who in high school who's gonna be graduating next year. So we're gonna go to Disney again one more time. So yeah. So each time we go to Disney, they go to the Bahamas. So we go. I haven't left my house.
They go to the Bahamas on a Disney cruise.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard that Bahamas is absolutely beautiful, and wow, to be able to go on a cruise and actually go to the Bahamas and you go to Disney World as well.
It's a win.
Yeah, that's excellent. So did you get off the boat and go into the Bahamas? Where is it? Nassau you went to?
Yes, we went to Nassau. Yeah, we went into Nassau. In fact, one of the times we went, there was a parade. We joined the parade. We were dancing with them. We go to the stores. We go to the restaurants. We go buy some rum cake and get some rum and bring it back. My ex-wife is Jamaican, half Jamaican, so she knows what to look for. But we got some rum cake. I remember it was really good. A lot of rum, and I don't drink too much alcohol. A lot of rum. Yeah, it was good. It was good. Yeah, we've been to the Bahamas a few times.
Right. Okay. And I presume Jamaica as well. Right.
3 times to be exact. So we're going to go one more time when the baby graduates from high school. We're going to go. So that'll be next year. So I'm excited.
Okay. So can I ask you, when it comes to pepper, do you like none, slight, medium, or pepper?
Give me everything you got. Give me your worst.
You like it hot?
Yes, Nigerians like spicy food. My children love spicy food. For Christmas we always go to the mall. We always go shopping at the mall. And this time around when we went to the store that sells spices, and we literally bought the most spiciest of them, and we bought it. And then we bought the medium one. And it was interesting because you only need like a drop of it and it's just like really spicy, but I like it. I like it.
Right. Okay. Where do you keep your pepper? In the fridge or the cupboard?
The cupboard.
Right, okay. what is your favorite drink?
So I don't drink alcohol. So my favorite drink of all time is Sprite, just good old fashioned Sprite, or I can't go wrong with water.
Yeah, best drink in the world. Yeah, really.
Yeah, if I
Favorite
was gonna drink anything else, it would be Sprite because I don't
favorite fruit?
on my teeth.
Favorite fruit?
Did you say fruit?
Yes.
Oh, mango, easy. I'm a tropical chick. So
Yeah, double, and it's mango season right now. Yeah.
anything with mangoes, I just ooh. Yeah, maybe I'm gonna go to the store and get me some mangoes today.
Yeah.
I love
The
mangoes.
only thing I hate with mangoes is they seem to get stuck in my teeth.
Yes,
Like,
yes, I know.
yeah, that's the only thing. I love mangoes though.
I
But
love. I can't
yeah,
go. I love mangoes. I love
yeah,
mangoes, and my next best will be coconuts, which is not quite a fruit, but I guess it's a fruit, yeah. So my next best will be coconuts, but mangoes, yes. I only use coconut grease made by my mother. My mother makes my coconut oil for my body. So
yeah.
yeah,
That was a thriving industry we had and was stripped from us, you know.
I
But
believe it.
favorite vegetable.
I think just good old fashioned spinach. You know, I cook with a lot of spinach. I put spinach in pretty much everything that I make.
Wow.
I made some stew for my son the other day for his rice. And he was like, Mom, I said, yes. So sometimes I make the spinach separate and then you get to take as much as you want. But he said, Mom, because I put the spinach inside of the stew. Like, Mom, I said, yes, eat your spinach. Eat your greens, baby.
Yeah.
You get taller. But yeah, so yeah.
I remember when I was young, I didn't really like spinach, but I don't mind it now. It's
Nobody
lovely.
likes spinach growing up. Yes, and I have this guy that I went out with a couple of times on a couple of dates, and he didn't want to eat his salad. He didn't want to, and I was like, "Dude, what?" He said, "I don't like." I said, "You're 59. You need to eat your greens." So it was funny. It was very funny because like I don't want it. I was like, "You need to eat your greens, boy."
Yeah.
So,
I mean, over here in my country, Trinidad, I could confidently say we are carnivores. We predominantly prefer meat to any kind of vegetable. Is that the same in like Nigeria?
I mean, we are omnivores in
Right,
Nigeria. So
right.
every now and again, you have people who, want to become like, I was a vegan one time. My eldest child was a vegan one time. We just tried it and we didn't like it. And we went back to being an omnivore. Yeah, I mean, I think it's also, there's a lot of patriarchy and men like meat. So but I mean, if there's no meat in the food, I'll still eat it. I'm not there for the meat, but if there's meat in the food, I'll eat it. If there's no meat, I'll still eat it. I'm not gonna, oh my God, there's no meat. No. But I do know, coming from Nigeria, coming from Africa, I know that, y'all like meat. Black men like meat. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
So you tried being a vegan once.
Yeah, just one time. I just wanted to try it, just try it because I think one of the things I like to say is I will as a person I'll try anything once, and so I do. So I did rather. And, it was okay, but I like meat, so I went back to meat. There's nothing. It wasn't. I didn't have anything against it. It just wasn't for me, and there's nothing wrong with that. I have to teach myself that it's okay. It's very okay for you to try something. And if you don't like it, you can always give yourself permission to try something else. It's fine.
Would you describe yourself as a messy eater?
No, I don't think so. But I'm not like particular about it. I'm not like, oh my God, I'm not anal. Like, oh, I don't want anything on my shirt. No, but I don't think I'm a messy eater. I don't think so. But I like to eat with my hands a lot. They're the first spoons that we had, and I think there's a lot to be said about being able to eat with your hands. I think it's a very beautiful thing. So as much as possible, I try to eat with my hands. If it's something that I can with my hands, I do. I think it's a beautiful thing.
I remember once when I was eating with my African friend, he cooked for the both of us, but there was one bowl. So I said, well, what's going on? And he said, no, this is how we eat. And like, yeah, we had spoons. What wasn't with the hands? We had spoons, but like, yeah, it was from the one bowl. And it was really nice.
We all do that. But as siblings, as Africans, we eat out of one bowl. That is Ubuntu right there. Okay. So we eat out of one bowl if we can. It's just a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it was nice.
And, my children, I try to teach them that, but it didn't work out. So that's fine. But yeah, we eat out of one bowl all the time. And I love being able to eat out of one bowl with my siblings. I think it's the most beautiful thing ever,
Yeah.
eating out of one bowl. And then the eldest one will stop so that the younger ones will finish the food. That is so beautiful. That is amazing.
But also for me, it represented like a bond of close friendship as well. You
Yes.
know, like brotherhood. You know, it was a really nice experience. Okay.
Yes. It's
So can
beautiful.
I ask you, when it comes to pets, are you licky face or no licky face?
No, no, don't lick my face. I have a dog and her name is Lulu, but no, we don't wait. Now, my ex-wife, yes, lick her, and I don't do that. Don't.
Yeah,
So, no.
I, I hear you. I hear you. Okay, so let's now talk about Dr. Lulu and what you do. I understand you're an LGBTQ activist for parents. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right.
So I am an LGBTQ activist, but the reason first of all, I'm a queer person myself. So I'm in the community. And then I'm a pediatrician. So I retired last year after 30 years of being a physician. I retired last year to do life coaching. So I am a general life coach, work with parents, kids, whoever, work with kids on confidence, work with parents on just self acceptance and vulnerability in parenting. And then I specifically work with parents of queer kids when it comes to accepting their kids, those who are struggling. And even those who have accepted their kids, you just never know. You can always still learn something. So specifically speaking, yes, I'm like a general dentist, but I can also put braces on if I have to. But I'll do your cleaning, I'll do your inspections, but then I can also put braces if you need that. So that's the kind of that's what I do now. I still practice medicine on the side, not quite as much, but I definitely do um, life coaching more now. So,
So, like, I know, well, I used to live in England years ago, and I know like you live in USA. And well, years ago in England, I know that like there could be a man and man in most parts of England that could walk down the streets hand in hand. And probably the same in most or a lot of parts of USA. But in the Caribbean and in I presume Nigeria, that sort of thing is kind of like looked down on. Um, the difference between the, I mean, I used to think that Trinidad and Tobago was about, say, 10 years behind UK on what's going on. But like, from my experiences over here, the attitude towards the LGBTQ community is still just as negative now as it was back then. Like when I first landed here, say 15 years ago. I don't know what it's like in Nigeria.
where is here for you? Where are you right now?
I'm in Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh, yeah, it's
Uh,
here too. Okay.
yeah.
So I obviously, you get in and then you just try to fit in. So I've always been queer my whole life. It's not something that I said, let me see, of all the things I could be, let me be gay. No, nobody chooses that. And if you go back historically to African ancestry in the past, we had same gender relations. It was the Abrahamic religion that brought the, oh, God doesn't like gays. Who told you that? How do you know? If God created me in their image and likeness, because I do not believe God is a he, I think it's an insult on God to make God a he. Because I know that men have small brains. They have small brains, that's the truth. They think with one part of their body most of the time. And so God, we're not going to put God in that category. But also because God created me in their image and likeness, I know that God also is a girl. God is a beautiful girl also. And so it's what you choose to see as your God, who you choose to make God, and how you choose to present God in your life. So, as far as I'm concerned, God has no gender. And if God has no gender, if God is agender or non binary, then God is queer. God is LGBT. And you see, you have to allow yourself to go there because the people in the ancient Igbo custom, women took wives. We didn't take wives for our men, we took wives. But like you said about the coconut industry, about whatever thing that Africans were doing before, they came and said, no, it's no good. And then they stole it and took it with them to their country and made it theirs. When you know better, you got to do better. And so when people say they hate gays, I asked them, I said, you must be struggling with your own self hatred. Because if the good book preaches love, agape kind of love, the one that has no conditions, and you are putting your love, well, I love you, but I don't love your lifestyle. It's not a lifestyle. It's not a choice. It's not as much a choice more than being heterosexual is a choice. If it is a choice, then being heterosexual is also a choice, but it's not. You are who you are. And if you don't know that, that's not my problem. My job is not to teach, is not to convert everyone, because I don't have the bandwidth for that. I have the bandwidth for those who want to, who choose to unlearn the systematic hatred that was implanted, which is why Africa today is divided. It's systematically planted hatred amongst us. And today, Africa is a hot mess. It's not what it used to be. The fact that the first pyramids were built in Egypt, and to this day we cannot replicate that, that is how advanced Africa was. The fact that the first writing, the first calligraphy was inside the caves in Africa, and yet they call us Bushmen, they call us uneducated. How? So you have to challenge rhetorics that you've been taught since just trauma, teaching you to hate yourself. There's a high suicide rate amongst LGBT people. You know why? It's not because they're LGBT, it's because of the way the world treats them. And then when your child jumps to their death, then you want me to send you thoughts and prayers? When you caused your child to kill themselves? I don't think so. That's some harsh words, but it's true words. When I told my dad I liked girls at 16, he said, it's a phase. But he didn't tell me, get out of my house. He didn't tell me, you're going to hell. He just said, it's a phase, you're going to grow out of it. 26 years later, I did not grow out of it. So I married my wife. Because I was like, you know what? I can. And people relegate everything LGBT into one thing. What happens on your bed, in your bedroom? How would you feel if I see you walking with your wife down the street and all I'm thinking about is sex? Oh, there's a man who is having sex with his wife. No, LGBT people are regular people. Just because I'm gay doesn't mean I like you. Doesn't mean I'm having a crush on you. Doesn't mean I even care about you. But that's the thing. Oh, she's a girl. She might like me. No, maybe I don't like you. Maybe I'm asexual. Maybe sex doesn't do anything for me. So people don't know what they don't know. And that's why I'm writing my book, which is coming out this month. It's called Invited In: How to Become the Parent Your LGBT Child Needs. Invited in versus coming out. because they've always been who they were. Who put them in the closet? Whose idea was that? To put a human being in a closet? Why? They've always been who they were. They didn't have the vocabulary, they didn't know how to discuss it, maybe. But gay people have been gay from the days of whenever, of Jesus. And David had a love for Jonathan. Look it up. Jesus had a love for John. Look it up. So these things have been going on from days. It's the way that the white man has portrayed it for us and made us start hating each other. Now, all they think about gay is sex. Really? Really, though? Do you realize that heterosexuals make homosexuals? Like, we are born from heterosexual people. And so we need to be about knowledge, which is power. You don't have to believe me. I'm not here to convince anybody, because I'm convinced that my child was born out of love, and I'll love her to the day I die. Because people are looking for kids and they can't even find. They're trying to have a child and they're paying on money and they can't even get one. And God gave me one. They want me to hate my child? I don't think so. I don't. Do you know how painful it is to have a kid? Do you know how the difficulty of labor? Like, hello. So for me, I live in Texas, a state where the governor says people should be arrested for supporting their transgender kid. Come and get me. Come and arrest me. I'm a physician. I know that I'm a pediatrician, which is the next level. I know that a parent who supports their child is the most important thing that you can do as a parent. And so what parents do is they have these dreams and expectations and thoughts and plans for their child, all these dreams, and then they forget to include their child in the dream. And then their child says, Mom, I'm gay. Oh. But the problem is the parents are having a hard time accepting themselves. Once you accept yourself as the parent of a gay child, your child is automatically accepted. So my journey, my work today is to get parents to come out of their own closet and see their child for what their child is and who their child is, and ask yourself the question, what does my child want from me today? Your child usually just wants you to just accept them as they are. So that's what I do.
You said LGBT to kids. What, what sort of age are we talking about? Um,
Every child is born as they are. So at birth, a child is born as they are. They don't become it. So a child is born gay. They are born that way. They don't become gay along the way. That's a myth. That's a misconception. They are born that way. Now, they might not have the vocabulary to tell you because you are hating. Because every word that comes out of your mouth is hatred for the child. So they're not going to tell you.
but what age do you think their awareness is that they are?
What age did you know you were a man? You, sir. What age did you know you were a boy?
I'm thinking back to like when I was at school. I can remember. Like, I don't think my parents.
Answer the question first. What age did you know you were a boy? You, sir.
A man. I'm thinking back to my childhood. I would say probably like 18 was the official you're a man sort of age.
No, that's not correct. That's not correct. I'm a pediatrician. A 2-year-old boy knows he's a boy. A 2-year-old girl knows she's a girl. And therefore, a 2-year-old transgender child knows that they don't fit into that box. They know. They might not tell you. That doesn't mean they don't know. There are two different things here. Because they watch you. Kids watch. And they see your attitudes. They see your behaviors. But the average transgender child will tell you that they didn't want to wear the dresses. They didn't want to wear the pom-poms and they didn't want to wear that. But they cry, but the parents like, you must wear it. That's what parents do. You must do this. You must play football. You must play soccer. You must. They didn't ask the child. And so the child just goes along living their life for you. They're not living their life for themselves. And so when they get older, they might tell you, or they might move out of your house and then tell you. They might tell you in college. They might tell you as a 50-year-old. But that is not when they knew. I'm talking about when did you know? When do you know you are heterosexual? In middle school, that's when you know you're getting attraction to the opposite gender.
Yeah,
That's
but
the time.
but not at 2.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You're not having those thoughts at 2. I mean, like when you're going to school and you see.
What thoughts? I talked about gender. There are 2 different things, and you're one of those people that is good to educate. There's gender and there's sexuality. I'm not talking about sexuality because people always think about sex, and that's why I said at the beginning. When you knew you were attracted to girls, your first thought was not, let me have sex. Your first thought is, I am attracted. Your attraction is when you're in elementary to middle school, sometimes high school. That's sexual attraction. That is not gender. Gender is 2 years old. That's 2 different things. There's gender and there's sexuality. Sexuality is not sex. It has the word sex in it, but it's not sex. It's about attraction, physically, emotionally. That's sexuality. It's different.
But there's two genders, yeah?
There are no 2 genders. The narrative is that there are 2 genders. There are non-binary genders, people who are what we call androgynous. They are neither here nor there. If you are not, see, just the way you are convinced that you're a man, that's how they are convinced that they're not. And so your place is to ask yourself, why does that bother you? Why does that threaten you? Because it doesn't, if this person said that they're a chicken, how does that bother you? How does that threaten you? If they say that they're non-binary, how does it bother you? It doesn't. But because you want to control somebody else, you're like, wait, why are you like, however they are is how they are. Just go about your business because you say you're a man. Now, a lot of people in LGBT community are bisexual. Talking about sexuality, they like boys and they like girls. But because of homophobia, they would never open their mouth to say it. They'll rather marry the other gender and pretend for life. But majority of human beings are bisexual. Majority.
The majority. Yeah.
Majority.
Wow.
Not 50-50. Majority. And that's talking about sexuality. When we come to,
I don't think so over here. It's not in Trinidad.
well, I mean, I don't know. You don't know. Your brain.
I honestly, I don't think. When I go out to like nightclubs.
But here's the thing. You do not know what you do not know, sir.
Yeah.
I don't know what I don't know. I will never use my mouth and say in Nigeria because I know that I have family members in the queer community today. So I cannot say that. Everybody knows somebody who is gay. So you cannot.
Don't get me wrong. There definitely is a gay underground here.
That's what I'm saying. So if
but it is very underground. Like remember I said at the beginning, you could see men holding men's hands and all that kind of stuff. You won't see that over here.
Because of homophobia. You won't see that. Because of homophobia. Because of homophobia. That you won't see it.
But you think there's more LGBTQs over here, like 50% plus over here?
No, go back and play my video and listen to what I said. I said, amongst the LGBT people, majority of them are bisexual. That's what I said. That's a fact. There's numbers. 55 to 77% of LGBT people are bisexual. That's not people. I didn't say people. I said of the LGBT people. So if you come to the church, then you can say in this church, put the percentage based on this church. I'm saying in the LGBT people, majority of them are bisexual.
Oh, right.
People in Trinidad.
Oh, right.
Because in the world, we have 12 to 13% of people in the whole world are LGBT. 12 to 13% of the whole world.
Has it always been that percentage?
I think the number is higher, sir. I think the number is higher. But like we said before, they don't want to say, which is why you said underground. They don't want to come out because they're afraid of people like you and other people who are homosexual, not you. I mean, the person listening, who are homophobic. So they're not going to come out. That's why you use the word underground. I didn't say that. You said that. Why do they have to live underground? How many? If they're living underground, then you don't truly know the number because they're underground. We're saying the same thing. The number could be more, but they're underground, so you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. If they are mostly underground, then the truth is you don't know how many. Even in Texas, it's not more common here because there's homophobia even here. So most people don't come out. They don't care because of that. So you don't know the number. For the number that we know is 12 to 13%. But I'm sure that number is more.
Okay. But what I'm saying is, say if it's 12 to 13% or 20%, 30%, do you think it's constantly being that number? Like from...
You know what I don't know, sir. I think that the number is more. That's all I know. We have had gay people from wherever the world was made. They didn't suddenly come up at a certain time. They've always been there. And just because we didn't look at the numbers doesn't mean that they were not there. So that's what I'm saying. They've always been there. Exactly when you say that they've been underground, that's all the more reason why we don't know the number. We don't know the true number because they've always had to hide. If somebody's hiding in plain sight, you can't count them. If they don't raise up their hand, you cannot see them. So that's what I'm saying about the fact that the number is most likely more because you don't know how many.
I was having a discussion with an imam. This must have been during COVID, about a year plus ago. And he was basically saying that the LGBTQ community, if seen, should be confronted and taken away somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And in the compound I was in, a lot of the people seemed to be like agreeing with it. Mm-hmm. And I was saying, wait, hold on. Are you saying that what someone does in their privacy of their own home, you should have the authority to stop? And he was basically saying yes. You know?
Because remember, even what you said has a problem with that. You keep bringing LGBT all the way down to only what they do in their bedroom. Remember I said that at the beginning. That's what everybody thinks about. They cannot think of anything else. But among the LGBT, there are people who are asexual. They don't even want to have sex. Yet, you and your neighbors have all reduced them to only what happens in the bedroom. So I want you to see the fallacy in that. I want you to see the error, the huge error in that. All you are thinking about is sex. And meanwhile, amongst those your neighbors are gay people. That's why the Catholic Church is a huge example amongst the priests who were sodomizing kids and abusing kids were gays. So let's call a thing a thing. Gay people, the most homophobic people on earth are actually gay people.
Can you say that again? Sorry.
I said the most homophobic people on earth are actually gay people that have internalized homophobia because they can't live their life authentically, so they hate on everybody else. And that's my word. That's my final word on that.
So, as I say, interesting discussion. How can the people get hold of you? Do you want to give them your social media handles?
Yes, thank you so much. So my website is DR for doctor, dash or hyphen Lulu, LULU.com. dr-lulu.com. That's my
That's your
website.
website. Right.
My social media across all of social media, whether it's my TikTok or my LinkedIn or Instagram or YouTube, is at Dr. Lulu Talk Radio.
Radio. And I've just subscribed to your
Yeah.
YouTube.
Because I
And
have a
I'll,
radio show. Because I have a radio show. So I want people
right.
to go to my radio show. And my radio show is called The Parent Hour. I just talk to parents, any kind of parents. It doesn't matter. Because I'm a parent coach. So I talk to all kinds of parents. It doesn't matter which kind. The Parent Hour.
And if I was to ask you, what are you looking forward to eating later? I think I know the answer already.
It's not plantain. I think.
Oh, right.
Like I said, yeah, but like I said, it's my favorite food. Doesn't mean I eat it all the time. That's what I tried to say at the beginning. I don't have any plantains right now. I haven't been to the store to get some. I will go to the store to get some mangoes because that's my favorite fruit, and I love fruits, and some watermelon because it's summertime. But if I see some plantains that are ripe, I'll get some. But in Texas, it's a hit or miss. Sometimes you get ripe ones, sometimes you don't. But I love plantains. But I'm not looking forward to eating because I don't have any. But if I go to the store today, I might get some.
Okay. Have you got any sponsors or supporters that you want to give shout outs to?
I wish I did. No, not yet. But it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
All right.
I'm hoping for my radio show I get some sponsors soon. So if you know anyone who wants to support a radio show, it's a black radio show in a Tejano station. I play reggae, I play Afrobeat, and then we talk about parents and parenting. So,
Do you want to big up some of your favorite artists that you might be playing?
I play Flavor a lot. I play Yemi Alade a lot. I play Tiwa Savage a lot, and some other people that I don't know their names, but I just love their music. So,
Okay, cool.
I love Sade Adu. She doesn't play reggae or Afrobeat, but I just love Sade Adu. So. I haven't played any of Sade Adu's music.
Okay, Dr. Lulu, I want to thank you so much for your time today. Blessings and wishing you all the best for the rest of the day.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you for the space. Thank you.
Thank you.